Hey, this is Digital by Computing. Today we're going to talk about how to move up the corporate IT ladder. A lot of tips that I hope you do find helpful. So let's talk about those right after this. Hey, my name is Emilio, and today we're going to talk about moving up in your career in IT, up that corporate ladder. You could be already involved in IT, you could be looking at moving into the IT career, and you want to know, well, how do I move up that corporate ladder? How do I end up going all the way up to further higher levels of responsibility and perhaps even into management or higher technical positions? Have that passion and dedication and ambition to learn and develop in your craft. You could be already working in IT, right? You could be working in a help desk role. You could be a support person, a developer. You could be a network engineer, a security person, and you just want to get more skilled. You want to move into management. Well, it all starts with you, right? You need to have that passion. You need to have that drive to want to learn more, to want to do better, and have that desire to move into that next position. Go on training and get certified. It's great that you probably already have some sort of a further education in IT. You may have a degree of some sort, but learning your craft even better, or learning, the position that you want to head towards ahead of time is going to be a benefit to you. So going out and getting training, whether your company is willing to pay for you to go get training and perhaps get certified in a particular technology. If they're not, perhaps invest your own money to go and get trained up in a particular field. The more you know, the higher chances you'll have to get moved up to that position. I mean, if I've got two people, if I've got one person that has really great ambition and wants to become, a network engineer, they're currently a desktop person, they want to become a network engineer, and they know networks, and they really have that ambition, versus one person that really has an ambition to learn networks. They're working in a desktop role as well, but they've gone off and they've done their CCNA and become a network certified engineer. I'm more likely to get this guy get promoted, right? So do go out and get some training, get some certification, have that willingness to take on more, right? It is hard sometimes to take on more responsibility, but the more you put your hand up, the more you say, I want to take this on even though I'm not necessarily good at it, but I'm willing to take it on. I'm willing to learn how to do this. To me, it's a good sign that you have got that ambition to want to learn, to want to take on more. Because look, frankly, the higher you get up in your IT career, the more responsibility you will have. A help desk person could be busy, but a systems engineer is even busier. An IT manager is even busier. Your top guy at the very top is even busier. So you're not gonna get less and less responsibility as you move up in your career. You're gonna get more and more. So the more you can take on, the better you're gonna get, obviously, at managing this responsibility as you get better in your craft. But start with asking to take on more responsibility. You need to do something. The biggest thing that I find is that people will generally say, well, why didn't I get promoted? Or one of their colleagues gets promoted or moved into a particular position, or they're given more responsibility. And, the person can complain and say, well, why didn't I get that responsibility? Why wasn't I chosen? Why wasn't I given the, more money and more responsibility in a high position? Well, a lot of it could do because you didn't have that dedication. You weren't driving for that, and you were just expecting the promotion to come to you. The biggest thing that I would tell people is you need to chase that promotion. Okay, don't expect it to come knocking at the door. You go out and look for it. You go out and tell your management team, tell your directors, your if you have like a CTO or a CIO, a chief technology person, an IT director or an IT manager that you report to. Let them know what you want to do. Let them know that you do want to progress, that you do want to go better, and tell them, this is what I'm going to do to get there. Be willing to occasionally fail and mess up. This is something that is hard for a lot of people, and especially if they work in IT and they're given some responsibility. Let's say that they're given responsibility to look after a particular server, and then that server that they're responsible for has a massive issue or breaks down because of something that that person did. Perhaps you set it up incorrectly and it caused an outage, and there's people complaining and the business is complaining, and the business is being cost money because of this server that has gone down. And that can put a real downer on, a real negative vibe on your passion to want to progress. So understand that, that typical saying, you can get knocked down, but do get up again. Every single successful person has failed. Every successful person has failed multiple times. But unless you fail, unless you have that experience where you have messed up, you're not going to get better. And the one thing that is important is knowing that because you failed, because a particular system or something that you did went wrong, you now have learned from that, you know how to do better at that, and you now have that experience where you can tell other people, don't do it this way because this can happen. Here's a big one. To do with that responsibility, be also willing to take on tasks that you will not normally do, tasks that you may not be comfortable with. This is something that I hear very, very often. Okay, somebody, let's say, who's a network guy. I'm a network engineer, and then somebody's going to come and say, hey, look, I want. Are you able to build this server for me, or can you look at this particular storage unit? And they're going to say, well, I can't. I'm a network engineer. I have to deal with the networks, or I'm too busy. I have to deal with the networks. I can't deal with this other stuff. That to me is a sign of somebody that's not willing to get out of their comfort zone to play around with technologies that they may not necessarily be comfortable with. Because especially if you're wanting to move into those positions, you're going to need to take on tasks that you're not necessarily comfortable with. People that I know that are in IT management shouldn't be doing technical things, right? Somebody who's in IT management should be looking at bigger picture stuff, doing all the delegation of tasks and managing people and everything. But at times, the network guy's gone away sick, and the only other guy that does the networks, that used to do the networks, is now the IT manager. So what's going to happen? That IT manager is going to take on some of that responsibility and do the networks. But it's because that they said, I'm going to take on that responsibility. It's not my job directly, but I'm going to be willing to do it. Talked about it briefly, but when you are given responsibility, the biggest thing that I'd recommend, somebody once told me, say yes more often. Too often people are saying no, I can't do this, I'm not good enough. Say yes more often. As we talked about before, you may fail at times, but saying yes it really does show people in management, or whoever the person is that's giving you the work, it shows them that you have a zeal, you have a passion to want to do better, and that you're willing to take on this load. If you're saying no, or I'm too busy, or that's not my field of work, I'm not going to want to promote you. So saying yes, even though you may not do well at it, that's okay. There are other people hopefully that can help you. You can go get training on how to do that, but start to try to say yes and take on things that you may not necessarily be comfortable with. Where do I want to see myself in 5 years? Where do I want to be in 10 years? Where do I want to be in 20 years? So I created a list, a simple spreadsheet of my career goals, where I want to be in 5 years, and what do I need to do to get to that position in 5 years. Okay, you could have started off as a help desk person, right? And you want to say, look, in 1 to 2 years time, I want to become a desktop support analyst. In 5 years time, I want to become a systems admin. I want to become a developer. I want to become a developer lead. You're not going to get there without having a clear understanding of what you need to do to get there. So what I'd say is, look, if I want to become a systems admin, and I'm currently a desktop guy, well, I know to become a systems admin, I need to learn more about servers, I need to learn about storage, I need to learn about the Microsoft fleet of Active Directory, I need to learn about domain controllers and all these other fun technologies. What am I going to do to get there? I'm going to go on training. I'm going to, perhaps book a course. I'm going to get some certifications. I'm going to build a lab at home. I'm going to start to talk to my fellow network engineers or fellow systems engineers on tips and tricks and what I can do better. Have a career goal. Know where you want to go and try to achieve them. And following up on that is let the people above you, let your management know that you want to do this, that, perhaps sit down with them, schedule a meeting with your manager to say, look, I've created this task list. This is where I want to head in my IT career. I'd love it if you supported me, and I'd love it if you put me in these positions to be able to achieve these goals. Your manager will see that you have that drive, that you're serious about wanting to progress in your career. And hopefully, if they're a good enough person, they're going to try to put, those opportunities towards you because they see that you have that ambition. Now, here's a big one that a lot of people don't want to know. A lot of companies, unfortunately, may not have budget. They may not have that opportunity for you to move up your company. You could have been in a company for a while, striving and telling your management, yes, I want to do this, and going and doing your training and getting certified and building a lab at home, and you're ready to go to that next level, but it's just not happening for you. You want to become a manager. You've gone and you've studied management, you have a passion for people, you're training the people around you, you've got perhaps some team members that look up to you and ask you questions, and you want to become that manager, or you want to become that architect. You have a good understanding of your entire network, but you're just not getting that promotion, you're not getting that opportunity. It's common, it can happen where the company frankly doesn't have enough money. Your management may have the good intentions to move you up, but the people above may say, well, look, we can't do it. And the only thing that's really stopping you from moving up is perhaps the person above you resigning or getting fired for you to then move up. So it's very hard sometimes within a company to move up unless there is an opening for you to move into that position. So in these scenarios, I would generally say, look, perhaps the time is for you to look somewhere else. It's not an easy thing to say, but if you have been in a company for a while and you're not seeing, progress, you're sort of stagnant, you're saying, well, look, I can't learn anything more where I am in this current position, and I'm not getting those next positions that I need or that I should have, look elsewhere. There are thousands of IT career jobs. There are thousands of jobs that are willing to train you, that are willing to promote you, and that are willing to, move you up that IT corporate ladder. Whether you want to move into a technical role, a more senior technical role, whether you want to move into management, whether you want to move into an architect type of role, these are the things that I would generally say. The biggest one is for you to have ambition and train yourself up to get to that position. So comment down below. I would love to hear your thoughts. If you disagree, if you agree with anything, comment down below. I'd love to have a chat, and we'll talk to you next time. So if you found that video helpful, please like it and subscribe to my channel, Digital by Computing, just on the button there for more videos.